Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Get ready for truth bombs, belly laughs, and the kind of accent that turns car into a two-syllable adventure. Here's your host, Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Archila right here on the SHR Media Network. Woof. Chat room blowing up already. Lost Wanderer. Canadian Heavy Haul, good evening, sir. He's already 3 rides in, so he's ready to light the candle. Sure he is ready. BZ's in the chat room. If you want to get in the chat room, you go to YouTube is the best place to do it. If you go to YouTube, search up SHR Media, you'll see that little guy right there. Usually has a little red band around it, shows we're live. You can click on it, you can like, follow, subscribe, and jump into the chat, live chat, where we can see you, share you, and you can engage with the other listeners. Tonight we're being broadcast on X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Rumble, and of course, simulcast with our good friends over at KLRN. Ricky Robinson, who had a good show tonight, caught some of it while I was prepping. Jersey Joe, another great show tonight. If you can catch that, you can catch the replay on SHR Media's YouTube. Let's get into it. This isn't gonna be my usual kind of snark. It's gonna be snarky on some level, but it's not gonna be my usual snarky show. And why? Because that's right, I shaved. Everyone's jumping all over the fact that I shaved. There was no lucky lady. I had to do a little minor face surgery on myself, and I had to do that and shave it. So here we are. Right now in America, we're seeing what we've seen the Democrats do before, which is create crisis. It is the only way. Hey, Odie's in the chat. I'm getting everybody tonight. Phantom's in the chat room. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. So the Democrats, I posted this a couple days ago, and I kind of wrote this out when I saw these protests start again. This is their calling card. Whenever they're politically in trouble or running for office, all of a sudden, you start to see riots, right? Sorry, protests, but they're riots. And how does this happen? And tonight I'm going to discuss the Democrats' playbook when it comes to protests. I'm going to discuss some of the funding, how this is not organic whatsoever. I'm going to discuss Title 10 a little bit, which is what gives Trump the authority to send the military into LA and what they're actually doing there. And we'll discuss the money that's behind this, the donors who have notoriously donated to these groups, and then who some of these groups have ties to. So let's get into it. The way I see it, there's 4 steps that the Democrats use these riots to try to obtain power. First, they encourage the riot, and they don't call for the protest directly. But over the last 2 months specifically, you're starting to hear more and more backlash against the deportations, ICE, right? We saw the Maryland dad, yada, yada, yada. They had their focus. And why are they focused on that? Well, the answer is simple. They were happy that Joe Biden allowed 10 to 20 million illegals into the country. That was what they wanted. Why? Because they wanted to change the districting and the voting setups all over the country. You saw just last month or a couple weeks ago, even California is trying to pass a state law that will allow illegals to vote in state elections. That is called a precedence they are trying to set. It is important that these deportations do not go for Democrats. It is important that these illegal remain in the country for Democrats. Why? It spells power for them. So they encourage it. Back in 21, you heard words from Maxine Waters like, we got to stay on the streets and we've got to get more active. We got to get more confrontational. You've also had Baltimore in 2025, a congressman say this will be a congressional fight, a constitutional fight, a legal fight, and on the days like this, a street fight. So they don't say the words riot or protest. They just drop little hints. The leaders just get into it a little bit. And then they know that their groups, these nonprofits, all of these people that funding are going to pick up the mantle and run. Step number 2 that they do, they criticize any response. Once things get out of control, no matter what the response is, either too much or too little or just right, they're going to criticize it, run to the news media, and of course, mainstream media is going to carry their water and say, this is wrong because X, Y, and Z. And that's exactly what happened. Oh, the police response was over militarized. The National Guard deployment's authoritarian. Federal charges, that's racist and targeting, right? They will do whatever they can to destroy the response. Now, remember, back when Trump was first elected, or back at the end of the Biden administration, Gavin Newsom was begging for the National Guard to go to the border. But now, the National Guard, who, by the way, have been deployed with the Marines to protect federal buildings only. That's the other thing that the mainstream media does not want to talk about. They're not following the rioters around and directly confrontational. No, they are protecting federal infrastructures and protecting ICE buildings, federal courthouse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is their job. That is why they're there. Step number 3 is divide and isolate. If you're not with us, you're against us, which is their main tactic, right? They want to pin everybody on one side of the aisle or the other. This is their playbook. We saw it in the Summer of Love. We saw it the George Floyd riots. We saw it all the way back into the Obama administration with the Trayvon Martin shooting. It's us against them. And also the professor there, the beer summit, yada, yada, yada. They want that. You're either an anti-racist or you're part of the problem. You have to push back and be oppressed, yada, yada, yada. And this gets people's energy going. This gets the fires lit. This gets people, wow, the government must hate us because that white person who says they really love brown people and is elected told me so. They use social media. They use people like Harry Sisson and other so-called influencers to push these narratives. This is part 3 of their agenda. And part 4 is they become the savior, the great white savior, as I like to call it. After the fire is set and the country's torn apart, suddenly they have solutions. Suddenly they feel your pain. They know that if you vote for them, the Democrats, they can fix all that ails you. And they're going to do it no matter what. They're there for the little people. That's what they say. That's the 4 steps to cause riots, to get riots going, and how to use riots for political power. Now, do you recall before the Obama administration, regular vicious protests like the ones we're seeing now, like the one we saw in Summer of Love, the George Floyd riots, the BLM riots, all the way back to Trayvon Martin? Do you remember outrage in the streets like this? The answer is no. I mean, yeah, you had 92 in LA, which will come up again later. You've had some small protests and riots, but not on the scale that you're seeing now, not as organized as you're seeing now, because professional agitators now are called organizers. That's what they're called. Hey, Mike's in the chat room. Thanks, Mike. They're called organizers. And as we get into it tonight, you're going to see how much money, how much they're organized, how many hands are in the pot working together. And you better believe all of these people have the ears of Democratic leadership and vice versa. So we already have the 3 steps, sorry. They've imported all the illegals. Why? For voting purposes. They now lost the election. It didn't work for them. So they now have to go to step 2 because Trump is starting to deport. They have to keep these people here, so they get into the riots. So let's look at the riots. So far, as of a few hours ago, we've had 60 arrested, should have been more, LAPD and DHS both confirm that outside agitators are playing a role. You had the Mexican president encouraging these in a speech today, Scheinbaum. Today or yesterday, either way. You've also had 14 police officers injured, one in critical condition. Have you heard that anywhere? Have you heard about that critical condition police officer? Because during January 6th, that's all you heard about is how police officers got injured, and they shouldn't have been. I've said that before. It's horrible. Mission Ready Men's in the chat. But now all of a sudden, they don't want to talk about the cops who get hurt. You have people like Kamala Harris who says these are cries for help, not crimes. Mayor Karen Bass, we won't let the federal aggression define our city. Listen to the speech that they use. Listen to the words that they use. Right? We will not let federal aggression define our city. It's not federal aggression when they're protecting federal installations. If you, your pissant police chief and the pissant sheriff of LA County actually got out ahead of this, it would have been shut down well before the National Guard had to get called in. But you didn't. Why? Because you were so underwater, even in Democratic districts, that you needed a win. You needed a win. Jersey Joe says, in fact, Democrat leaders even said today no one in law enforcement were hurt, which is hysterical, not because the cop got hurt, that they would lie so bald-faced, because there's images all over social media. They even talked about how one LA County sheriff officer was in a Mexican restaurant getting treatment for, he was bleeding from the face where he got hit with a rock. They showed that, right? Because it was a Mexican restaurant. So immediately, having covered these for years, I said, okay, let's follow the money. That's what you do in these situations. That's how it goes. So first I go to Data Republican. If you do not follow Data Republican on social media, you need to. Data Republican, she's unbelievable. Where is it? There it is. So this post she posted a few hours ago today. Neville Singham funded pro-Palestinian campus protests now tied to the anti-ICE riots. The LA riots were part of a series of nationwide protests organized by Communist Party for Socialism and Liberation, taking place on June 7th and June 8th. Several days ago, Neville Singham was identified as the main backer behind the PSL. The PSL printed signage and spokespeople not only for the LA riots, but also for San Antonio and other cities. I'll document Neville Singham's involvement below. The other cities we'll talk about a little later because there's more protests coming up this weekend. Neville Singham is not a nice guy. He's an American businessman, social activist. He's the founder of ThoughtWorks, an IT consulting company that provides custom software tools and consulting services worth about $785 million. He also started a consulting business with partners who are active in propaganda apparatus of the Chinese Communist Party, who co-own a company with municipal governments that promote anti-poverty policies, i.e. socialism. He's a socialist and supportive of Maoism. According to the New York Times, Singham has provided significant funding for media outlets, organizations, and politicians around the world to promote pro-Chinese propaganda. His wife is also, from what I understand, one of the leaders of Code Pink. You remember that group? So we now have one of the funders, but it's not the only one. Have you heard of a group? I'm going to pull them up right here. And I know Ricky talked about this earlier, but it's important. It's called CHIRLA. Who We Are. Let's look at their little Who We Are page. If it would add to stream. Thank you. Pull me up there. There we go. Now it's playing nice. CHIRLA's mission is to achieve a just society fully inclusive of immigrants. I'll say that again. Fully inclusive of immigrants. Now, everybody in the chat room, everybody in podcast land, everybody who watches this show will agree that I, too, am inclusive with legal immigrants. That is not what CHIRLA is all about. Open borders, long and short, is what they're all about. For more than 35 years, the Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights, that's CHIRLA, has empowered immigrants to push policies that promote freedom of movement, full human rights, and vigorous civic actions that strengthen this democracy. Again, remember, leftist socialists don't call it a republic. They try to gaslight you into calling it a democracy, so they think it's one man and one vote and not a representative government that we have. They started in 86, yada, yada, yada. So that's one of the big players in there. And CHIRLA's got a lot of money. Somewhere here, I have in all of my notes, they have, I think it's something like 65 million I have for CHIRLA. So that's just this group. And it's funny because CHIRLA's not a group I'd really heard of before. It's just not a group until recently that I've never heard of before. So for them to have that much money, and maybe I'm just living under a rock, but for them to have that much money and be so quiet about who they are, it's frightening. Another group that was involved in this specific LA riot set is Unión del Barrio. I have their website too. You might note something a little noteworthy about the appearance of this website. Oops, share this tab. There we go. Unión del Barrio. They hold an ideological ties to La Raza, the Chicano movement in the 70s. They say movement. They were also known as a terrorist organization by some. La Raza was not a group of nice people. If you ever listen to old sackheads, Danny Butcher used to come on the air, and Danny Butcher covered La Raza for a long time, and he explained it how horrible La Raza was. There's no group named La Raza today. Officially, they don't have a website or an organization like these people do. So it's fair to assume that because these Unión del Barrio has ideological ties to La Raza, that this is now the new La Raza, the public face of La Raza, if you will. Let's move on to another group that's funding all of this, because it's not just two, it's not just three, it's not just the socialists and the communists. No, the Ruckus Society. Who's the Ruckus Society? The Ruckus Society, according to them, specialize in direct action and protest training. There's your organizational arm of this army, if you will. This is the organization. This is the logistics wing. This is the organization wing. This is everything. And the Ruckus Society has been around. If you look into them, the Ruckus Society has been around. Also, another one that pops up, the Never Again Action Committee, Jewish-led anti-ICE group with a history of blockades and stunts. According to everything I could find, each of these groups receive indirect support and grant-based nonprofit funding networks. In some cases, they're listed as the specific nonprofit. So in other words, this is where the money goes. And who's sending the money? Well, we talked to the one guy earlier, Songam, whatever the hell his name was, right? The guy who was in charge, the Data Republican was talking about, Navel Singham. But here's another list who are people that we might want to look at. And this is all money that are going to organizations like Working Families Party, Maurice Mitchell. These are all the WFP, the Working Family Party. Anna Maria Archila is the co-founder. Maurice Mitchell's the national director. If you look at this web, hold on, because I got a slide for this, believe it or not. I've been working on this for a while. Let's see if this will play for me. Oh, look at that, it did. I can technology some days. These are all the groups, or these are the two main activist organizations that are funding all of these groups. CHIRLA, Union, the Ruckus, and Never Again. You have Tides Advocacy and the People's Resource. That's how the money's going. This is, and I, Rutgers University. No, Ruckus, not Rutgers. Ruckus. It's a very different word the way I say it. So you can see where the money starts and where it starts to flow down. And you might ask yourself, who's the Tides Advocacy? Tides Advocacy Fund. I actually had this up earlier and I closed it, so you're going to give me another second. Yes, here they are. The Tides Advocacy Fund, another interesting group based out of San Francisco. There's some meme here, yeah. Oh, I know. Hold on, Biff, BZ, don't get ahead of me. I got a whole list of names and other foundations that I want to get to. But Tides Advocacy and the People's Resource are the two biggest one. Dismantling inequities and creating a just society. That is what Tides Advocacy is all about, according to them. Democracy, civil engagement, equality and human rights, health and the environment, shared prosperity. There's, once again, shared prosperity. Socialism. They're about socialism. So do we see a regular trend going on here? This isn't the Mexican illegal immigrants who are formulating these protests. These are communist social groups that know not getting rid of these illegal immigrants in our country will destroy our nation. It will destroy our economy. It'll destroy how we vote. It'll move more towards a one world government and open borders and socialism and all the things that we as a nation stand against. So when you're standing up against these protests, you're not standing up against just the illegals, who, by the way, are just pawns in this. Make no mistake about it. Those people are pawns in a bigger scheme with groups like the Tides. The other group that I was talking about was People's Resources. Haha. And yeah, I'm pulling it up right now, so give me a second. Well, at least I thought it was. I thought I was being smart, and I thought I had all my tabs open, and here we are. People's Resource Center. Let's look at their little website, shall we? This looks nice. They want to help. You see them with the food bag there, and they're all about putting food in people. Back to school supplies, right? It all looks lovely. Down here, food pantries, computer training, social services, job assistance. Hey, this sounds like a nice organization. All of their front looks like, hey, this is just a decent nonprofit. But they're the ones who are flooding money into these other groups quietly. They don't want you to know what they're about. Some other top funders over the last 10 years that are still around today and could and very well have money in these riots. Open Society Foundations, they're worth $81 million. Tides Foundation, 54 million, as we talked about. Crank Start, 31 million. 1630 Fund, 26 million. Ford Foundation, 22 million. Amalgamated Charitable Foundations, 18 million. New Venture Fund, 15 million. Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors, 13 million. Hopewell Fund, 11 million. Arbeller Advisors, 10 million. And then you start looking at some of the individual names. And of course, you have Soros and the usual group of mongers who absolutely despise this country. So in the first 24 minutes of this show, I've explained to you why the riots are important. I've explained to you how they're funded, how they're organized, right? And I'm going to start giving you some evidence of the organization after the break because it folks, I'll tell you right now, If I needed a pallet of bricks delivered to my house, it would take me probably 2 months and a ton of begging to make it happen. Right? Just a single pallets of bricks at Home Depot. But in this completely organic, completely grassroots movement, bricks started showing up everywhere yet again. Many of these are subsidiaries of, according to Mission Ready Men, Arbella Advisors. And I don't know, I thought about this and I haven't looked it up, if Arbella Advisors is a part of Arbella Mutual Insurance or if it's just a different group. How have I verified all of these companies as nonprofits as having donated to all of these different funds and all of these different riots? Easily find, you can look up their IRS Form 990 filings. WFP is listed as a grantee across multiple umbrella groups. In other words, they're all the money's coming from the same few places and being put through shell organizations to distribute. A lot of the donors use donor advised funds, DAFs, passing through layers of nonprofits before it reaches the street, as I just said. What's interesting is how many of these organizations pump money into the left. Ask Hakeem Jeffries, who supported these networks via joint events and a PAC alignment. So I'm going to show you somewhere here. I have more images. That's the funding. That's that. Is this it? In theory, it might be it. Maybe it's not it. I don't know. Yeah, this is a good one to have up too. This kind of explains a lot in this little graph. This is the web of how all this dark money goes. And this is how the WFP leadership got money to Hakeem Jeffries. Look at all these groups. Fair Share Action, Future Forward, 1630 Fund I mentioned earlier, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Consensual Voters, 9 Tomorrow, American Votes, yada, yada, yada. They've all pumped money into Hakeem Jeffries through dark money, through all of these shell companies. It's there. It's not hard. So when they talk about dark money, the left loves to talk about dark money in politics because they love to receive dark money in politics, but act like they don't, as they do with everything else always. And this is the problem that we're fighting. Like I said, this has nothing to do with the illegals other than the fact that they are the tool that is currently being used against our nation. And they're coming out and they're going through all of the typical, and I'm going to play a whole bunch of sound clips after the break. It's not just going to be my ugly face yapping. They're going through all of these very typical, what we've come to know, run-of-the-mill Democrat statements about these. Yep, Soros Open Source Society. Mike Pasqua asked, how much money do these organizations get from USAID? Mike, I honestly don't know the answer to that. And that is a fantastic question. You know what? At the break, I'm going to see if I can dig that up because that's actually a question I did not think about because I was so tunnel visioned on this set of riots that I did not think of that. But you know what? I'm going to do some digging at the break and I'll see if I can get an answer for you on that. So now we know the reason and the funding. We know how they're organized. And look, if you watch those videos, have you ever gotten a group of maybe 10 to 15 coworkers, friends, whatever, even people that you manage, try to move together from one room to another, or maybe through a restaurant or a baseball park? It's like herding cats, right? So you got to ask yourself, how do they get thousands of strangers to show up at the same place at the same time, to show up with the right equipment at the same time? Because they're organized. This was never, ever a grassroots thing. This was never, ever, ever about illegal immigrants. This was entirely about making trouble on our streets and trying to make conservatives look bad. They knew the response that they were going to get out of Trump. They knew the response they were going to get out of conservatives like myself and yourselves and others. And they think they can still play that card. But even I think it was CNN today showed a poll number that said more people, Trump, when it comes to immigration, is now +1. When his last term, he was down like -29. And his immigration policies are up over 54% favorable with the nation. And they're shocked by this, but considering immigration was the number one main topic during the last election, it was the biggest issue coming out of the Biden administration, and it was the thing that we wanted Trump to focus on the most going into his new administration, and it's still popular. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to look up what Mike asked me to look up, and I'll be right.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Ever dream of escaping the daily grind? At Escapist Travel and Tours, we make those dreams your reality. From breathtaking adventures to cultural immersions, we offer escapes tailored just for you. Let us take you to places where every moment feels like a new chapter in your life's adventure. Visit www.escapist.travel or call us today at 1-855-885-81776. Your escape awaits.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com.
Welcome back to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Hey, folks, when I went on air, we were only 5 away from 500 on the YouTube subscription. So do me a favor. Hit like and subscribe. If you have any alt accounts, do me a favor and hit like and subscribe from them. It's not too hard to switch to your alt accounts. Thank you so much to our good friends over at KLRN for having the balls to simulcast me. I really appreciate it. Great folks over there. Make sure you check them out. I also appreciate the support from my team here at SHR Media, Mission Ready Men, BZ, Jersey Joe, all in the chat room tonight, and all of our other friends, Cheetah, Canadian Heavy Haul, of course, the Lost Wanderer. Orty hanging out with us. Orty, thank you. Appreciate it. Just get caught up on some of the chat before we go on. Orty says it's a shell game. They all move money between each other, but in addition to Data Republic, you should also follow at Jen LaVar. She is Jen Van Laar, excuse me. She's putting people together, and it's really, really good. It is. I agree. I follow Jen. I like Jen. She's really, really great reporter, and I'm glad she is getting out there as much as she is, and people are seeing as much for her stuff. Lost Wanderer said he was waiting for the break because his glass was empty. That's really a folly on you for not having two ready to go. Mike Pasqua, who I'm going to answer his question in a moment because I did dig at the break as promised. Remember in 2020, they were organizing on social media. They certainly were. Let's see. Man, you guys are chatting a lot. Canadian Heavy Haul, there's my adult beverage is always nearby. I think he's like me. If if Canadian Heavy Haul's like me, it's always in a backpack, at least close by. Cheetah says anything less than charging them with a crime and also making them both testify before Congress is uncivilized. I agree. BZ says smash the subscribe button. We're only a meager 5 away. Rick Robinson says add 688 to that. Okay, I will. Thank you, Rick. And Cheetah said I gave up on White Mamba and deactivated her, else I'd be there adding to the subscriptions. I appreciate it. 496 now. Somebody, I got one more. We're 4 away. Dude, tell your friends, go to your social media right now, please, and link our YouTube and just beg 4 people to click it. I challenge you. I beg you. I encourage you. As they say, this is a call to action. Let's see if we can get to 500 before the end of the show. That would be awesome. Please, everybody, go to your social media. All you have to do is copy and paste the YouTube link and just ask for a friend if they'll like and subscribe. I am not beneath begging. Not even close. Plus, they can get in the chat room and hang out with all these amazing people. Lost Wanderer said, friends. Lost Wanderer, in your case, sir, when I say friends, I mean those in the little spaceships that float around above us. So Mike Pasqua asked me to look into these groups, specifically Tides. That's the one I really look for. I try to look at all of them, but I can only type so fast, and that's a break. To see if I could dig up if they got any money from USAID, and son of a bitch, they did. I'll put this up, and this is per chat GPT, but it gives you the references. It comes through the 990s and all their sources. And USAspending.gov confirms multiple USAID grants to the Tide Center. 2016 grant to the Tide Center supported civil society program. USAspending.gov shows an additional award of up to $24.7 million between October 16th and July 2024 to the Tide Center. According to the 2022 Form 990, it's administered $24.5 million in USAID funding grants to strengthen and elevate civil society organizations globally, plus $1.5 million in subawards from specific USAID initiatives. God, if only we could get rid of USAID. USAID has awarded more than 27 million grants to the Tide Center, which, along with sister nonprofits, has bankrolled many leftist groups that influence the Biden administration, according to an oversight House Committee report. So that's the Tide Center alone out of all those groups. And that's per their 990 forms that they have to file with the IRS. And it was cross-checked from IRS and ProPublica as some of their sources. So to answer Mike Pasqua's question, because I do that here on the Edge of Liberty, I am all about my fans. They did, in fact, say that the Tides organization received money. Now, I'm sure if I go through the other ones, Crank Start, 1630 Fund, etc., the answer will probably be yes as well. Let's see. So let's get to some of, I think Dinner put a lot out back when USAID was on the top of the news cycle, and they probably did. Mission Ready Men, who made that comment in the chat room. I'm sure she did. She's on top of a lot of stuff. And again, a great follow. So let's look at some of the response, because the responses to things, and this is from Lily Tang Williams. I love Lily Tang Williams. I hope she runs again. She had been on SHR years and years and years ago. BZ has specifically kept in touch with her. She's just wonderful. But she had these quotes from all of these all of these prominent Democrats about this specific set of riots. Mostly peaceful, Governor Gavin Newsom. Mostly peaceful, LA Mayor Bass. Mostly peaceful, Kamala Harris. Mostly peaceful, Elizabeth Warren. Mostly peaceful, Cory Booker. Mostly peaceful, Maxine Waters. Mostly peaceful, Chuck Schumer. Mostly peaceful, New York Times. Mostly peaceful, CNN. Shocking. Mostly peaceful, MSNBC. Why do they do that? Well, because once again, the Democrats and mainstream media love to play don't you dare trust your lying eyes. Don't you dare for a second believe that what you're seeing is real, because it's not. This image right here is a figment of your imagination. They didn't burn that car down. They didn't write fuck ICE on the side. He's not holding a Mexican flag. None of that happened. You're imagining that. And I'm telling you, we've spoke about the left doing this for years, and I truly think it is starting to wear on people. I think people are not believing it anymore. I think people are tired of hearing it. I think people know to trust their own eyes. And the one thing that social media has done that we absolutely has helped, a lot of things have helped, is let people like you and I reach each other. They let people like you and I communicate one-to-one, share real information, share videos, share photos, share videos like this. This is, I think the president of the National Education Association, according to research, they are the largest teachers union now. And this is the leader at the protest, as they called it, protest on the immigration raids. This is what we're getting from the left.
We the people! We the people! We the people! Yes! All of us have that right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice! We
You hear
the
that?
people!
That last word.
And the pursuit of justice!
You see how she changed that from the pursuit of happiness? We all know the quote for years have been life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That it's kind of an important one. You may have heard about that in your civics class once or twice. But the pursuit of justice, what they consider to be justice, not what you and I consider to be justice, what they consider to be justice. It's not the actual definition of justice. It's not treating people equally and fairly, treating others equally and fairly. No. It is a complete change to social justice. And that's what she's talking about when she says justice.
It could
But
turn
as
very
we know,
volatile if you move
it's
law
mostly
enforcement
peaceful.
in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers. And,
that's exactly the
demonstrators.
problem here. And this guy from, I think it's Channel 7 ABC in LA, he's right. These people were just hanging out watching cars burn. They weren't bothering anybody whatsoever until, damn it, Trump activated the National Guard. And that's when we started to have problems. It wasn't stuff happening before that. And again, remember, these folks here are just protecting federal buildings. They are not, I repeat, they are not patrolling to stop the rioters. They are protecting federal infrastructure and buildings. This is why the National Guard, as you see here, was activated. And you know who knows that? This howling hag who is screaming at them.
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid who's afraid of you and run? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why you're in my city. You did, the governor was not contacted.
Doesn't have to be.
This is Trump and his outrageous attempt.
Yeah.
to not only target our sanctuary city,
Nope.
but to frighten us.
I thought there were no
And
sanctuary
intimidate us.
cities. Weren't the left telling us that there's really no such thing as sanctuary cities, but there are, but there aren't? Did you hear what she said at the meeting? Why do you have guns? Well, the same reason the cops have guns. The same reason why your protection detail has guns. Because these things get violent, and sometimes people do things that could amount to a loss of life, and it needs to be stopped. So the leading wig collector in America, Maxine Waters, is asking, are you going to shoot some kid and run away? Are you going to shoot me? To which I wish one of them looked her square in the eye and said, ma'am, if you try to take my life or the life of somebody else, then yes, I will shoot you square in the fucking face. But if you don't, we won't have a problem. You and anybody else who are on the streets, if you don't do any of that, we will not have a problem. I am allowed to use deadly force to protect my life or somebody else. So as long as you're not threatening that, there's no issue. But you see,
This is wrong.
this is acting.
I hope that none of you will use those guns to shoot anybody. There's no reason.
And you know what? I bet you none of those kids, none of those Guard members or Marines want to use their weapons. I bet you they're hoping the same thing. They're hoping that there's no problem and all of this goes away. But again, as we saw, this is the same regurgitation when the BLM riots were going. Well, why should cops be armed? Because they're bringing a gun, and because they're there, there's a gun at every incident. Now that's escalation and blah, 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 bullshit, 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 bullshit. Ma'am, I don't know if you saw any of the videos of the mostly peaceful protests, but cops are getting hit in the face with cinder blocks. I'll play a video in a little bit here of somebody with a paintball gun. Funny story about paintballs. If you freeze them, they can crack your skull, depending on how high pressure the paintball gun is. There are people who will hurt. We know that because I read earlier. Let me go through my notes here. 14 officers have been treated for injuries so far, one in critical condition. The cops are the response to the problem. The National Guard is the response to the problem. The problem is they're mad that ICE is making the arrest. But that's also a response to the root problem, which was Democrats and Joe Biden let 10 to 20 million, some say more, illegal immigrants to this problem, to this country, and we have to fix it. That is the actual fucking problem. It's not the response. It's not ICE trying to deport them. It's not the National Guard who called out in response to the riots. It's not the Marines who are getting called out to protect federal infrastructure in response to the riots. It's not the LAPD and the LA Sheriff's Departments, the ones that are actually doing something, and the chippies, who, by the way, I don't blame the line officers. It's leadership problem. But they're not the problem. It's the people burning the police cars. It's the people breaking windows. It was the shoes that were looted, which obviously will help immigrants. It was the record store that was broken into, again, to help immigrants. This is the fucking problem. She is part of the problem. And yeah, isn't she? I don't know if she's paid off her $68,000 fine yet. But, you know, she'll get around to it. And if you look, oh, man. If you listen to what some of these windbags on the left do. Now, this is California Representative Judy Chu. This was yesterday, I believe. And she's talking about how the LAPD had everything under control. But watch the video in the background.
You have outliers that throw things and cause damage. And so, yes, the LAPD came in and they called it an unlawful assembly.
Yeah.
I believe that the LAPD has this underhand, and they are very, very experienced in riot control. So
you're doing a great job.
This is something that they can handle.
All those vehicles were those unmanned Waymo taxi vehicles that they stopped using just street blockers, anything that would block them, because those cars are programmed that if anything gets in front of them, they stopped. And then They lit him on fire. But she's sitting here talking about how it was under control while this video is playing next to her. What's the show on KLRN? Juxtaposition? It's just unfreaking believable how they will say things with a straight face and act like it's totally normal. And you talk about organization. This is another good one for you. Look at this. They raided a Home Depot. They create barricades. They even tag some of it. 5 guys there. They use cement blocks. Look at homemade dragon's teeth. Is that mostly peaceful? What are you preparing for when you do that? When you set up a street for this, what are you preparing for? You're preparing for something. You're preparing to make sure law enforcement can't advance on your ass because you're about to do something no good. Yeah, and BZ did say the Chief McDonald from LAPD said that they were overwhelmed. Why they experienced some riot control? Does that mean your society has a problem? Yes. 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 Lost Wanderer to your chat room. The answer is yes. They're 100% have experience in riot control because they have riots all the time. Ordy says he knows our show. I do, Ordy. I do know your show. Oh. And Jersey Joe, the resident firefighter who knows this stuff, lithium batteries, which those Waymo cars are, when burning emit hydrogen fluoride, carbon monoxide, and various organic compounds, which I assume is just wonderful for society, for the climate, right? So, man, I'm so aggravated. And it brings me to No Kings. Now, Data Republican, this is her information, not mine. Data Republican says thousands of No King protests against Donald Trump military parade are going to take place on the 14th across the U.S. as activists reject Trump's birthday plans to feed his ego. Organized by Indivisible, a progressive activist group partnering with groups like 50501, the anti-Trump nationwide movement dubbed No King's Nationwide Day of Defiance, will coincide with the U.S. Army's 250th birthday and Trump's birthday celebration. The massive cavalcade will have horses, soldiers, tankers, warplanes, and more. So this group, Indivisible and 50501, who I haven't had a chance to look too far into, but they are responsible for putting together, and I know Joe talked about this, I know Rick talked about this, but I want my followers to be able to follow it. 497, 3 to go. Part of me wants to stay on the air and just force anybody listening to make a new YouTube account to get us to 500. So maybe I'll stay on the air to 500 just to see if it'll happen. I'll give it to 930 of 500, whichever one comes first. Jeff, PGB, and Drool, incredible potentialities for drunkenness and alien tomfoolery. I think that's a beautiful idea, according to BZ. So, we've seen all of these peaceful protests, which, have looked a lot like this, right? You haven't seen the American flags. It's all been the Mexican flag. Imagine wanting to stay in a country so badly that when you're protesting it to show that you've really welcomed that country and want to immerse yourself into that country's culture and way of life, that you can't help but flying the flag of the country you fled because it was so fucking horrible. But that's what they're doing. And that's what they've been doing. So I read earlier today, and I thought I saved the post, but I can't find it. And I got more from Maxine because she's just been amazing. And, once again, talking about these incredibly peaceful protests like this. Doesn't that look peaceful and friendly and healthy and safe? I really worry about their lungs because, as Joe pointed out, when you're burning electric vehicles, severe exposure can lead to immediate throat swelling, upper airway obstruction, fluid buildup in the lungs, pulmonary edema, and lung collapse. So how are they combating this? Well, they're smart and they're cautious, and they, in this completely grassroots, not at all organized event, have started. Hold on, where is it? Oh, I can't find it. I must not have saved it. I'm a jackass. There's these masks. I forget, they're called B News or something like that. They're full face masks. They're not quite gas masks, but they have like ventilation and what's the word I'm looking for? Gas mask like effect on the bottom. And they were spotted being handed up from a truck, and somebody posted a license plate of the truck. Where they pull up and they started handing them out. According to what I saw and what I read, they run about $90 a piece, and they were handing them out from like a full pickup truck. So they're preparing. They're absolutely 110% preparing. Let's see. And how much do they love this country? Oh, by the way, the SEIU president, David Huerta, has been released from federal custody on a $50,000 bond following his arrest for ICE during a raid in LA. So the SEIU is once again acting wonderful. For those who don't know, the SEIU in California is the biggest union of state workers. And the SEIU is one of the biggest leftist organizations in the country. Another Data Republican said another investor in the organizing of these riots is a guy by the name of Ron Gochez, one of the major organizers. He is a self-proclaimed revolutionary, there it is again, who called for a revolution to take the land back from white racist people. In his own words, Gochez admits to training activists in the classroom and dreaming of a different society entirely. If you watch some of the videos from these completely not organic grassroots protests that have become riots, you will see a common trend, which is the Soviet flag being carried around by a lot of people. You weren't seeing a lot of American flags, but then word got out as I was reading today that the imagery of walking around with all of these other flags but the American flag was bad. So they actually started handing out American flags to the groups and the rioters. And what do the rioters do when they get their hands on the American flag? They do this.
And this is not just a good gesture. This is something we need to make real. We need to bring goodness down far once and for all.
That is what they think of the American flag. That is what happened. Because the optics of carrying around the Mexican flag, the Venezuelan flags, and the other ones were terribly bad. Ordy in the chat room says, Service Employees International Union, they have more power in Vegas than the mob ever did. 100%. That is 100% accurate. Lost Wanderer said they are using words like comrades by these assholes, and it's pissing me off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And remember, a lot of the Venezuelans come from a socialist country where comrade is a regular word. Socialist, communist. It's communist now. They're using force to push the socialist values. It's communist. Let's see. I have so many videos. This is what they think of our country. They're not going to assimilate. They're not. They don't want to join us. Again, as I remind you, that is the distraction. Illegal immigration is the distraction. And yes, I think we have to draw the parallels, and we have to show the fact that they hate this country and they are a problem in of themselves. But the bigger problem is the organization that has been being put into play that want to take this country and destroy it, and they're using the immigrants to do it. We've highlighted how many socialist, communist movements tonight. Maxine Waters, back to Maxine, because she's just been just wonderful. And I mean that in a completely sarcastic way. This was her on CNN. And honestly, I considered just doing nothing but playing Maxine Waters clips all night because I have so many of them from the last 72 hours. It's not even funny. And none of them make her look good. This is old Maxine who must have put on a new wig and then was denied entering the LA detention center. She was trying to see that SEIU member that was arrested and released on bond. This is if this doesn't warm your heart and maybe even give you a little chub, I don't know what won't.
The LAPD police chief, Jim McDonnell, says the level of violence he's been seeing across Los Angeles, in his word, and I'm quoting him now, is disgusting. Given that, why shouldn't the National Guard be involved?
Well, I was surprised at the way that the police chief was describing all of this. There had been no violence where anybody that was protesting hit anybody, shot anybody, threatened anybody. Nothing has happened. And so he doesn't know
again
what to do, probably, because this is a sanctuary city.
He doesn't know what to do, the LA police chief. As she's saying how peaceful it was, look at what's going on the video.
And the police don't have the authority. All that he's got to do is work with the governor. The governor was not even called when he sent in the National Guard.
Okay, first and foremost, she's saying the police chief needs to call the governor, and the governor wasn't called when the National Guard sent in. That makes zero fucking sense whatsoever. Because the governor wasn't going to activate the National Guard, or he would have, and he wouldn't have been bitching about Trump doing it. So what would calling the governor have done? They had CHP deployed to the area with the LAPD. The LA Sheriff's Department deployed to the area with the LAPD. So they had what we called AHOD, all hands on deck, and they needed more help. And actually, the governor, clearly not going to activate the National Guard because he didn't, would have been a dead issue.
The mayor was not even called. The president is initiating this purposely. He knows what he's doing. If he was, thinking, well, first of all, he started off the targeting, all of the migrants in the way that he's doing.
It's not targeting. He's not. He's not targeting. He's arresting people who shouldn't be here.
And so, if we had people who were working together and cooperating, the governor would have been contacted, the mayor would have contacted, and they would have said to the police, whatever the sanctuary city is, if we need to undo that at this time so that the police will have the authority, we can do that.
Do what? Sanctuary city doesn't protect against rioting and looting. Sanctuary city just means that the city is not working with immigration to get rid of illegal immigrants. So what would that have done? She's batshit crazy.
But no, the president doesn't want that. He wants to use his power. And I am predicting he will go so far as to create martial law.
I just want to point
There it is. There it is. The martial law thing. I love it. I love it. I love when they throw that out there. It's martial law. I think he's trying to get to martial law. I think he wants martial law. Let's see. Comments from the chat. Jersey Joe. So let me get this straight. People are protesting deportation by waving the flag of the country they refuse to live in while burning the flag of the country that they do live in. Yes. Canadian Heavy Haul. Nelson didn't activate the National Guard to force Trump to do it so he can run around saying, oh, yeah. Newsom, not Nelson. Sorry, I knew what you meant. Newsom. My bad. Jersey Joe said, yes, he is targeting those who came illegally. Okay. And the Phantom says, I swear this woman is making me lose the remaining brain cells that I have. You need to hold on to those, kid. It's a long life. You're still young, so be careful.
Out, and I'm sure you know this, Congresswoman, there has been some violence in the course of these protests. Some police officers were, and some vehicles were damaged in the process.
This is not CNN being honest. This is CNN trying to clean up her mess. Wolfie here is not, well, I'm just trying to tell you that there was some violence because that's my job as an honest news reporter. No, he is trying to clean up on aisle 5 because her Depends just fell all over the floor.
So there has been some violence out there, right?
Well, the thing about it is you may have people, one or two or a few people who will not conform. That happens everywhere. That happens in our workplace. There's always someone who...
This happens in our workplace. Really? Your workplace? There are people burning the American flag. There are people burning cars that are just sitting there. They're breaking windows. They're looting Congress. Is that what's happening in the workplace, Maxine?
Something. But you're saying to people, don't be goaded. Don't be goaded into a confrontation. Don't be goaded into violence, because
you're not going to be goaded into violence by the National Guard and the Marines if you don't go to destroy federal buildings.
That's what Trump wants. He wants the violence so that he can send in the military and create martial law. That's what he wants.
So
and if a few people were doing crazy. That, I've not heard of anybody being shot. I've not heard of anybody being killed. I've not heard of anybody being beaten. So I don't know what all this so-called violence is all about.
So let me get this straight. You should not take any action until people are shot and killed. Got it. And this is why she is not a police chief. It's unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. I just did a quick check over at shrmedia.com because now we're down to 3 away. And I don't, 2, we're 2 from 500. We're 2, folks. Woof, hold on. Oh, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to dig up some more stuff because there is more I want to talk about. I am going to go long. And actually, what I may do is I may invite a few people to jump on with me. But we just need 2. All we need is 2. If we have it when I get back from the break, that would be amazing. So stick around. See if we'll hit 500. Maybe I'll invite some folks on right here on the SHR Media.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRnradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRnRadio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRnRadio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRnRadio.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Welcome back to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. There is a fight in our chat room over on YouTube to see who's going to be the 500th. There's two people, Canadian Heavy Hall and the Phantom, who are standing by to be the 500th. I love controversy. Love it. Speaking of controversy, I talked earlier about the No Kings event that's going on this weekend. And I just want to show you exactly where it's going to be. Oh, look at that. This is where it's predicted to be. You'll notice all of the blue cities have the highest concentration in the blue states. Of course, the Atlantic seaboard. And of course, the Pacific seaboard. The Midwest, not so much. Florida. Lost Wonder in the chat room said when they both think they're going to hit 500, I'll unsubscribe. That's awesome. By the way, Lost Wonder is Sundays on KLRN. Fantastic show. You have to please check it out. And speaking of KLRN, I think, well, maybe I won't. I thought I was going to get a guest, but maybe not. I'll wait. Ricky, I'll bring you in, but you have no video and I can't hear you.
You can't hear me either. Hang on.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you.
The problem is, since I'm streaming you on my side, it won't let me bring my camera up. I'm going to try something real quick. Sometimes this fixes it. Hang on.
Okay.
Because I'm not using my camera over there, so this should hopefully.
Ordy says he's unsubscribed twice. Are we even at $4.99 yet? Oh, we just need 2 more. Can't hear Ricky. Best show ever, says the Lost Wanderer.
Yeah, it's usually his.
I got a picture of you for a second. Maybe. And while we're waiting,
it says
for the
it's already in
technological
use.
Genius. Oh,
so I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that.
Well, with us is the Grand Poobah of KLRN, and one of its, I think it was 14 shows over there, and
14 million
on another 20. Yeah, 14 million. This is, of course, the infamous Rick Robinson, and joining us as well is Jersey Joe, host of the Reaver of Common Sense. Thank you, sir. I'm waiting to see if the old fuck shows up. I mean, BZ. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did.
I didn't mean to. That was so wrong.
Isn't it past his bedtime?
You just called him. You just called him an old fuck in front of 700 and some odd people. So that's.
Well, you know me. I'm always inclusive. I want all 700 people to know. So we're sitting at 498, and I figure we can marathon this a little. Surely everybody in the chat room, surely everybody has gone to their social media and put it out to like and subscribe. I mean, that's the only, all of you have, right?
Dude,
and I'm saying that sarcastically.
I've liked and subscribed on every account I have, so I can't help anymore. I've tried.
So I'll start with Rick.
I know nothing.
As I'm going to call him now, the Shadow, not the Phantom, the Shadow, because he can't be seen. Rick, sir, your take on these LA riots and the funding, and do you agree the fact that the illegal migrants were a planned, that's the word I'm looking for, planned tool for the Democrats to use later on?
No, exactly. I think this was planned all along, and one of two things was going to happen. They were either going to figure out a way to make sure that their votes got counted to make sure that they got to stay in power, or if they didn't, they were going to use them to start sowing the very same unrest that we're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, come on. I mean, that's one of the things that I love hearing about when everybody's like, oh my God, nobody's ever done anything like this in history. Obama deported the most people ever, and he wasn't doing anything like this. And I'm like, yeah, nobody else has just basically thrown the gates wide open and said, come the fuck on in.
Oh, yeah.
You're the next and I'll see if you can bankrupt America. Come on down.
Yeah, it was, I mean, The floodgates are open. It was no longer a sarcastic statement. It was an actual fact.
It's just so frustrating, especially in some of the stuff that I talked about earlier today with BZ, like the clip that everybody's showing where the cops are like circling one of the people that tried to set them on fire, and they're being so mean to the dude. I'm like, dude, if you tried to set me on fire, you'd have met fucking Jesus, like PDQ.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're talking about the mounted unit cops where the guy ran up with a gas can and had them pinned up against the wall. Yes.
And everyone was like, well, if they had him down on the ground, I'm like, dude, if it were me, he would be meeting Jesus right now. I'm just being as honest as I can.
And joining us, of course, as I spoke earlier, is Bloviating Zeppelin from the Podcast Saloon. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
Let's see. So we're 2 away from 500. I figured a couple of helpers would be nice.
So is this what we're doing with this telethon style? You're not giving up until we get
this is telethon style now. It just takes 2. That's all it takes now is 2.
Arms for the poor. Arms for the poor. Won't you give us a lending hand? 2 subscribers, all we need. Arms for the poor.
Seriously, that's where we're at. Put the map in the chat.
I'm begging you, please.
Oh,
I'm desperate. I don't know what to do. Please subscribe.
Mike Pasqua requested the chat for the No Kings in the map, and I have put it there. So the No Kings thing to me has to be one of the funniest. I'm going to be interested to see if it's a giant flop. I part of me thinks outside of LA and maybe Boston and New York and a few other cities like Seattle, Portland, it's going to be a massive flop. But it'll be interesting to see because you have people like what's his name, Joe Walsh, who all of a sudden said he's not a Republican, even though he hasn't been a Republican in 30 years or something like that.
It's nothing more than a UDI.
Oh yeah, did you say UTI?
Close to it. UDI.
He is a UTI.
I mean, UTI fits too. I would go with that.
But the man has not been conservative for as long as I can remember. And I called him Diet Joe Scarborough the other day because that's all he is. He is. If I was going to make a dollar bill for a rhino, Joe Walsh and Joe Scarborough would have been the 2 that I would have fought with to get on the bill. Maybe I would have them spooning as the picture in the middle of the $1 bill for rhinos.
Nah, just put Walsh on the penny so he goes away.
It's a good point. So I knew Mission Ready Men as soon as I mentioned Joe Walsh was going to make a comment because this isn't even a recent thing. It goes back years and fucking years. Anytime you mention Joe Walsh, the politician, to Mission Ready Men, he gets pissed. It is the funniest. Like, I know it triggers him. It's one of the only ways that you could trigger Big E.
It triggers me. I mean, seriously. He was one of the bigger voices when I was just starting to get into this stuff, and seeing some of these people that I used to look up to that I have figured out were nothing more than grifting asshats just makes me so cranky because the thing about it is, if I wanted to do that, there are so many tricks in this business that I could use to drive traffic to my website and so many other different things that I could be doing that I refuse to do because I don't want the message to suffer because it's about trying to do about trying to see if you can make a difference, not trying to see about how well you can line your wallets. And so many of these people that basically went from the Tea Party to the Republicans to, oh my God, Trump's the devil to, oh, now I'm a Democrat. No, you've never been anything. You have no spine. You have no compass. You've been chasing a dollar bill. That's it. And I can't wait until all of your money dries up and goes away and I never have to hear from any of you ever.
I can't wait to see with the Florida governor race because
Joe, you're real low mute. You're real low volume, Joe.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you are.
The Florida governor race is going to be interesting because the Democrat side is David Jolly, who was a Republican, then a Democrat, now Republican independent, then now a Democrat. He's another one of these that doesn't know which way he's going.
He's bipolitical.
Yes.
Tripolitical.
Then he'll be a Tory.
He would.
But he's going to be a great leader. He's decisive. He makes decisions.
I can't even decide which party I'm with, but I'm decisive. No, I mean, I think
made decisions too. They just weren't good fucking decisions.
Well, I think bipolitical may be the best descriptor I've ever heard for a politician. It's just BUY political.
Bingo. He's a Whig.
BZ, your mic, I think, is flip-flopped again to your computer. You're echoey. And
distant. Cat crap. Hang on.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking it was. So
well, I have a question too, because something that's not really talked about, and maybe I had misinformation, but didn't Obama send in the military into Baltimore also?
Oh, was that during the Freddie Gray riots?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta dig on that now. That's a good point, Joe.
And I don't think he did send them to the streets, but I think it was to federal buildings also. I could be wrong on that part.
How about this?
Better.
Oh, there he is.
Super.
Oh, Lord.
What is that? And I got Rick back. Rick's on video.
Yeah, I got it fixed. I had to tweak on my end. You're blind. Put a hat on.
National Guard was used, Joe, during the Freddie Gray riots, but it was not ordered under Title 10. It was actually done by the governor at the time, Larry Hogan.
But still, Obama, there was no need for it.
Obama. So here's the difference, and actually, because I remember Obama condemning the violence quite strongly. This is where a lot of these leftists don't realize how obvious and stupid they are. Obama was the king, to use a phrase, of being able to encourage bad behavior, being able to come out and speak down about that behavior and say, you really shouldn't do that. And then would come out a couple days later and gloss it over and say, but I understand why they did it. Right? He was so slimy when it came to that, but he was great at it. I mean, he was great at selling his brand, and he was great at always making what he did look good, even when it was just horrible.
Timu Obama's been trying that too.
Oh God, dollar store Obama.
Yeah. I don't even think he's worth $1. I think he's more Timu now.
Yeah, maybe. Mike Pasco in the chat room.
I know.
Oh, there he. Phantom's waiting for $4.99. She's like just sitting on the edge at $4.99. We're at $4.98. We need 2 more on YouTube. Just like and subscribe to be 500. If you hit 500, Jersey Joe will polish your car. Maybe.
I thought you said you're going to polish the. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Polishing something.
Well, I heard that you shaved for some lucky guy.
Yeah. I 100% shaved for some lucky guy. That lucky guy was me.
Self-love. All right.
Yeah. Hey, one of us should love ourselves. If you can't love yourself, nobody else will. BZ. I want to ask the same question to give the panel, now that I have a panel, a good chance to round it. BZ, do you think this was always the plan with allowing all of these immigrants to flow over the border, was to eventually be able to use them as a tool to further, and not just in the sense of the redistricting and stuff like that, but as a wedge to use in this nation to get people divided again? Because remember, and we've talked about this before, one of the things that the left hated about Trump is he was getting people to unite, and they were furious about that and petrified about that.
I don't think Biden was sufficiently cognizant. The people that were running him, yes, but these are also crimes of opportunity. And when you have a situation such as this, when you have somebody, this is perfect. Leftist Democrats and globalists are nothing if not prime opportunists. It's like looking at a carcass and deciding that you're going to clean every last molecule of it. This is going on, and you'll notice that it first started in not an organic kind of fashion, but everyone decided, just like what? Just like what was it? The thing that started against stock markets, that began with the anarchists. They're all climbing on because they see it's a golden opportunity. They can go ahead and do it, and it accomplishes any number of things all at once. I don't think they're sure that it was going to hook and take, but now that it hooked and took, now they're going to jump on board. Everybody's going to jump on board, and you can see them doing that right now. And then the money followed for more.
I think that they're more into a cover their ass right now, because the message that's going out there is too obvious, and they know, in my opinion, they know the people are not happy and see through the bullshit that's going on, because too much we're seeing now. It's peaceful. And as Sackhead, Sean, and I, all four of us have done, showed the videos time and time again where they're sitting there saying it's peaceful, as next to them on the screen you see shit burning down.
Yeah.
I think right now they are in a panic mode because of the message that they're putting out on Twitter. If you notice, when they're in trouble, X, they're on X nonstop posting, nonstop. And that's what they're doing. Newsom's out there big time right now.
Oh, he is absolutely 110% carpet bombing his agenda right now. And I'll tell you right now, and I don't mean to cut you off, Joe, but I think this is kind of an important
he does
thing to bring up. I honestly think that all of this entire rioting situation, all this benefits Trump way more than it benefits Obama. I mean, Newsom, because even though so this has become their Frankenstein. They cannot control this monster. They got it rolling. They wanted to use it. And all it's going to do is keep going until it finally gets shut down properly. And the rest of the country, California, yes, there are people like me in California who voted for Trump. And there are some conservatives here. But California was never, ever, ever going to vote for Trump anytime soon, anytime in the future, in my humble opinion. So the optics within California and Newsom, who gives a shit? Nationwide, what they're looking at is the 6% that approve of the immigration, how Trump's handling immigration. They're looking at this as a man who followed through with his message.
All right. Well, if I may, because I think I know why the Democrats are doing what they're doing. And like I said earlier, I think it's basically they thought they had this going either way, because they were either going to find a way to make sure that all the votes got counted for all these people that aren't supposed to be here, or they were going to be able to do this. But they're also looking at this through the lens of the Summer of Love in 2020 and all the stuff that came before. That was an open scab in America. They found an issue that a lot of people were still upset about. This isn't one of those issues. Most of America agrees with what's going on right now. So them believing that they could basically recreate part of the divisiveness that made everybody so tired, which is one of the reasons why most of the country supposedly, and if you look at the data, I still say supposedly, said, fuck it, we'll put the grandpa in charge. At least then the rioting will stop. Because but that's just it. This isn't the same. Most of the country wants these people gone. And it doesn't matter how much you scream and yell and whine about it on social media, because most of the country wants these people gone, because we all look at it from a common sense perspective. If somebody breaks into my house, they don't get to stay.
But at the same time, the Democrats, as normal, hit the same well over and over and over again. People seeing that, because that's the other message. Oh, look what happened when Trump was in before this happened. Yeah, and you're doing it again. People are seeing that this isn't a Trump issue, that it's a Democrat issue, and they just hit the same well. Racist, sexist, going after the immigration. Oh, the peaceful protest. People can see it, especially now. Yeah, the mainstream media is not broadcasting it, but all you need is a social media account, YouTube, Twitter, all of them are posting exactly what's going on, and people are seeing what actually is going on, not what's being fed to them.
I agree. Well, and why do you think they wanted to control social media so bad for all those years? The last thing they ever wanted us to do was to communicate freely and unfettered and have our own opinions that weren't somehow edited or shut down because there's essentially a censor monitoring what you post. And you remember, this is the same group of people that under Obama was trying to get an FCC censor in every single newsroom. That was not a myth. That was one of the plans. Their whole goal is to limit our communication and keep us divided, because then, as I said earlier, as one of the steps for the protests, they get to come in and be the great white savior.
Well, it was also Biden.
Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bud.
I was going to say it goes a step further because everybody forgets on the way out the door, Biden's FCC managed to sell off how many AM radio stations to George Soros? If it was if Elon Musk had not bought X,
they fast-tracked the selling.
Yeah. Not only did they allow them to be purchased, they fast-tracked the sale of it, cut a bunch of corners, and just made sure it went through. This is akin to them basically throwing all the bars overboard on the way out the door, which is one of the reasons why I get so mad with everybody talking about the BBB, which I know is on our topic today. But I'm like, look, dude, they drained everything on the way out the door. We have to do something or we're going to run out of, we're already basically out of money. But that's kind of the same thing. They do all of these things to make everything look as bad as possible for whoever's coming in. I mean, think all the way back to the Clinton years when W won. Granted, their shit was more petty, but how much did it cost me and you to replace all the keyboards they ripped all the W's out of?
Oh, God. So true. It's sad, but it's true.
Seriously, I mean, think about this. I mean, yes, granted, they're playing for bigger stakes now, but it's the same pettiness because they've been the ones that have been in charge for so long. And let's face it, other than a couple of times before Trump, the Republicans liked being the underdog. They liked being the opposition party because it made it easier for them to fundraise. Trump turned all of that on its head. That's why the old guard hated Trump so much, because they don't like to lead. They haven't for a long time. And it's what you're seeing right now, because the same ones that are always like, oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do that. Look, I get it. I don't want to do it either. But if you don't, you can't get anything else done either.
Hey, Sean, I just shared with you a tweet from a Democrat mouthpiece. Arrest the governor of California and you will have a civil war.
Who said that?
Bring it.
Anonymous.
We're already
I don't know if you see the screen. I shared it with you just if you wanted to.
I'm sorry. I did not get the notification for that, Joe. Hold on.
That's weird because I did.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't get crap. I never do. Damn it.
When the fuck did you get my
By the way, I just saw in another chat, breaking right now, anti-ICE protesters gathering in downtown Phoenix.
I'm telling you, they're going to try to spread it everywhere they can.
Chris Murphy called for it.
Yeah.
He called for a national-wide anti-ICE protest.
Which is the... Go ahead, Joe.
No, just as I said on the show, he knows it's been violent. He knows it will be violent, and that's what they want.
Yep. Well, and yeah, I've been blowing and I'm not the only one, obviously, but just been hitting everybody with this of, oh, there it is. Oh, I got the fact that you stopped, Joe. I did not get the fact that you started the screen share. Sorry. Yeah, well, and I said this, they need the country to be in turmoil, and it has nothing to do. Oh, there we go. Anonymous. Arrest the governor of California and you will have a civil war. Yeah. Yeah, it's all bloviating. I mean, it's all BS.
Careful.
Let's be real for a second. I mean, Governor Hairgel's already taken a page out of Jefferson Davis's book. I mean, we're basically already in the beginnings of a civil war because now he's screaming about states' rights.
Yeah.
Versus
it's so funny how all of a sudden rights is a Democrat issue. Oh wait, no, it was before once. and a couple 100,000 people died as a result.
Yeah, what do you know? What do you know?
I am more blown away because if hair gel had half a brain in his head, which I know he doesn't, so I'm being realistic, but if he had half a brain in his head, he would have reached out as soon as he heard Trump was about to do this, called and said, hey, I'll deploy him. I'm out. I'm ahead of this. I'll deploy him. Because then he can actually say, we're all agree that he's running the next time. That's not like a questionable thing.
I know. He's there.
Then he can say, oh, wait, when those riots took off, I acted before Trump did because I saw the risk. I saw the risk to the officers that were down there, and I activated the National Guard. And we are officially at $4.99. Thank you, Lost.
Damn it, Jim! Really?
Which is really good because I ordered food, I think, while somebody was talking through my phone, and I got about 22 minutes till it gets here. So,
okay, stop right now. Now, go find out. Did you text that guy when you ordered food?
I did it through the app.
Okay. Find out who that guy is and
501. Hold on.
To subscribe.
Wait. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. The coolest thing just happened, and this is why I love our listeners and our friends and our team that we have here, because
501, baby.
We are officially at 501. That is the coolest shit ever. I don't think 501. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I don't have any more celebratory. There we go. I have that. Oh no. So when I go through, I will determine. There's a fight going on right now as to who the 500th was.
Nice.
So
Hey, Sean,
somebody talk.
I want to show a video because I want to dispute the Democrats, because this was taken on Friday before Trump even ever got involved in this.
Go ahead.
Wait a minute. There it is.
Add to stream. Good, Joe.
Look at the size of that concrete chunk that's laying in the road.
I know, it's incredible.
What would happen if that would have went?
Oh,
that's it.
Go ahead.
But this was Friday afternoon before Trump ever got involved, even though they say this is all Trump's fault, yada, yada, yada. Right there's proof. But it was peaceful.
Oh, 100% peaceful. Somebody talk, because I have to answer the question that's being asked in the chat room and look at see who was the 500th subscriber.
So can you actually find out?
I can, yes.
Really? Okay.
So you couldn't find that out while we were watching like a minute-long video or nothing?
No, somebody just needs to talk and be normal for a minute. Oh, crap. There's nobody on here that can do that.
Wait, nobody can be normal on here. Are you kidding me? Is normal.
Not a yubbing.
I'm really so it's funny because
outside of my job description, I have not ever been asked to be normal before.
Good point.
they're putting themselves into on this is a losing battle, no matter which way you look at it. I mean, they're sticking up for people who not only entered the country illegally, but are staying here every day is a crime because they're here illegally. That is a separate crime. Now, on top of it, they're trying to brag, well, they put money into Social Security. Hey, how are they doing that? They buy stolen identities.
Yes.
Who do they usually buy them from? Cartels. What are they bringing with them when they come across the borders? Drugs. From who? The cartels.
Muy drogas.
This is what the Democrat Party is protecting. This is what the Democrat Party is harboring. They say this is a Trump fault. I didn't see Trump harboring illegal immigrants in California. I didn't see Trump going out there and forcing anybody to shoot fireworks, commercial fireworks at a helicopter, trying to crash it. I mean, did you guys see Trump out there forcing him to do this?
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything like that.
Okay, I have to update the people. I will not be able I will not be able to see the analytics till tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus.
It will.
Oh my God.
It has to report. It'll do it in 24 hours. Now,
Uh-huh.
we know it was between Canadian Heavy Haul and the Phantom. The question is, who was gonna be the 500th? I'm gonna have my guess, and my guess is going to be Canadian Heavy Haul because I'll tell you why. He's drunk, and drunks are lucky.
Oh, oh.
I will keep up the promise.
Yeah, baby. That's it.
His address. I have a bunch of stickers for all, BZ's, mine, and Sackett Sean's, I believe, and SHR. I will mail them out to Canada.
No, Lost Wanderer, you can't go back down to 500 and then come back up again. It doesn't work that way. I know Kyle really well.
Try, though.
I know Kyle would absolutely give me his address, and I know he would love stickers. If it is not, I know somebody here, and I won't out it, has a really personal connection to the Phantom. So if it was the Phantom, I will make sure that something nice is done for the Phantom. But I will find out tomorrow. I promise I will look it up. And I will reach out. I can actually reach out to both of you personally off air.
Phantom, I'll buy her dinner tomorrow night.
Oh, that's a good call. That's a good call.
If it turns out to be Canadian Heavy Haul, and because by dint of the fact that he was imbibing, if it was him, I will send him a BZ's Saloon.
Ooh.
Dun, dun,
Look
dun,
at that.
Dun, dun, dun.
2 of his 3 wives illegal
Made
immigrants.
of unobtainium.
That would be amazing. I know Canadian Heavy Haul would love that too. He's a good dude. I'll tell you, I met Canadian Heavy Haul before he knew I did podcasts and such. And before we talked politics, we both work in the same industry. So we just became friends that way, but good guy. Whoever is the victor, I will make sure that it is announced on, on the SHR website. I will put a 500th posting.
Say, yeah, you got to do a thing about it.
Yep.
It's got to be a thing.
We'll
notice me and you, how much we love our fans and we respect them, that we're going to give stuff out for them. And what you're doing, I'll post it on the website.
Yeah. I'll do all the real work. That's right. Like everything else, the princesses get to go out and have the crowds love them, while the people who actually get shit done are behind the scenes sweating away. Who posted your show to the website tonight, Joe? Wasn't fairy dust, was it? Wasn't fucking fairy dust, pal.
It could have been fairy dust.
Hey, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Sean. Since you've shaved, you've got a bit of a bitter bitch face going on.
I do have one. No, he's not wrong. Mission Ready Men, sir. Big E. He's taking off for the night. Make sure you check him out every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 on the East Coast, right here on SHR Media, who we now on YouTube have over 500 subscribers, 501 to be exact. That means I have to take down my begging video from the YouTube page. A lot of big things going on.
Meanwhile,
Thank
we're
you,
still sitting
Biggie.
with 12 on ours, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, I've told you can use it whenever you want. You know how to get on it if you need it. It's there.
Yeah,
But we
I'm
do have one more
aware.
hurdle. We do have one more hurdle.
What's that?
10,000.
Watched.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, but we have a year's worth to get to there. So
Yeah, and we're fine. We're actually a lot closer than I thought we would be.
Okay. First 500. Now we push for 1 million. Starting now. Go.
I want to see the progress we can get. Look, I did not go on the air tonight thinking that I would be doing a Jerry Lewis-esque telethon to get us to 500, but it worked because I brought in 3 special needs guys, and the money, the subscribers came rolling in.
When the fuck do we have ice cream?
My favorite part of that is I knew all 3 of you were going to say and or do something to support that.
I like spaghetti. Do you sell spaghetti? Yay!
Wapner.
Oh, good golly, man. This has been a blast. So let's get to some predictions before we wrap up. How long do you think this unrest, it's going to go through the weekend? It'll probably dull down Wednesday and Thursday. And then my prediction is that it'll coincide with the No Kings event. It'll pick up a little bit for the weekend. How long do you think it's going to go on for? We're going to start with Jersey Joe.
You're saying how long these riots will go on in LA because you froze up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I think tonight it'll start dying down. Tomorrow will get less. And I think kind of it'll phase out by Wednesday, Thursday. They're getting too much negative press.
Well, but here's the difference. The Democrats aren't smart enough to. We talked about this earlier. Is they're not smart enough right now to understand that bad press is a thing now, and that I think Kyle, Canadian Heavy Hall, said earlier in the chat, and he's 100% right. They have yet to figure out that the internet's forever.
Yeah,
they just haven't figured it out yet.
I agree with that, but it's just it's sometimes it does click in when they're going, okay, we're not winning this, and we need to make it go away. So they'll manufacture another crisis to divert from.
Always manufacture another crisis. Let's go with beauty before age. Rick, go.
I'm not sure I qualify, but okay. All right. I'm going to say probably a little bit past this weekend, if I'm honest. I think Trump's going to actually start having to tell the National Guard to actually start putting their foots down before anything really stops. I mean, that's one of the things from, I think the video that Jersey Joe was playing a second ago was actually part of the one that I played on my show earlier. And I can't believe at some point with all the cars that were there, they didn't just do the whole skirt and just grab the dude and throw him to the ground.
Yeah.
Well, it was about 4 or 5 throwing.
I know. I'm really shocked that one of those cops didn't just get out and be like, you know what, dude, I'm sick of this, and just go nuts. BZ, my good friend, sir, your thoughts on the longevity of these riots and the impact?
Well, things have changed overnight. As you guys have been talking, and myself as well, I've been watching the TV that's up here, and you can see watching the live video that the response from LAPD is much more organized. The people aren't there. They're not popping off like they were. Just before they took a break, they were pushing a blue dumpster toward a line of LAPD officers, and the LAPD officers broke ranks, came out, stopped the dumpster, and then they cut to commercial. So it's not the same as it was last night. It'll die down in between, and then the hope, I'm sure, is that by June 14th, it'll pop off. It's whatever organicity they claimed is now predominantly gone. I think we're going to see a lessening until June 14th. And you know what? I'm not even so sure that June 14th is going to be a big gig.
Well, we'll see. Of course, they're picking Flag Day. Of course, they're picking the Army's birthday. And of course, they're picking Trump's birthday to do all of that. first and foremost, BZ, I want to thank you for using the word organicity.
Thank you.
That was, I actually have to pay you, I think, $5 now for that word, because that's a $5 word.
Thank you.
So check is in the mail, pal. Just keep looking for it every day.
5 syllables.
And a couple things that some other people, I didn't really touch on this, but Title 10, a lot of people don't understand what Title 10 is. Title 10, long and short, is
it comes after Title 9.
Well, it does. Technically, you would be right.
Yep.
It kind of dovetails into the Insurrection Act. It allows the president to call on the state National Guard units into federal service. Now, in times of war, they would be activated. This is different. Whenever the president considers the unlawful obstructions, combinations, or assemblages or rebellion against the authority of the United States, it makes it impractical to enforce the law. So, in other words, when defecation hits the oscillation, the president can invoke Title 10 and take control of National Guard units from any state or area. Couple of the other times that it has been used, because a lot of people said, oh, this, they bring up Kent. That was the first thing they bring up. The last time it was used, it was 1992, the LA riots, after the Rodney King verdict.
Can't we all just get along?
Governor Pete Wilson was the governor. President was George H.W. Bush, and he invoked Article 10. Now, Pete Wilson was thankful for it and was supportive about it, but that doesn't matter because he doesn't need the approval of the governor in that situation. Federal troops deployed were both Army and Marines. And the outcome was order was restored via federal control, and we obviously don't know the outcome now. So it's interesting just really to look at Title 10, and everyone forgets the state guard. Sean's doing 2 hours. What's happening here? I always have 2 hours worth of material. I'm just usually too tired. California has a state guard, and I saw this conversation come up too. The state guard is not at all federally funded, is all funded by the state, and the federal government can never call them up. They're not a militia organization. They're a state guard organization. What were you saying, Joe?
No, I'm just laughing.
At what?
Chat.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. They're all giving me because I can actually do a full 2 hours.
Rarely, but it does happen.
Rarely. Sackheads, we used to do what, 3, right? Didn't we do 7 to 10, or was it 8 to 10?
We did 2.
It was 2. It was 8 to 10. That's right.
I think that's why I did 8 to 10.
Yeah, that is why you did 8 to 10, because you used to sit on both sides of us, bookend us Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays.
Yeah, I was busy Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yep.
Oh, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Correct. Now these questions, and what? Now the question is, what did he order? Honestly, a cheesesteak. There's one place out here that makes a good cheesesteak, and that's what I ordered. And
I hate you.
I will tell you that it is 7 minutes away. So timing is everything, really.
So what place? I gotta ask.
Hold on, give me a second. Because I never remember the name of this. I think it's just New York Cheesesteaks. It's a local place. New York chopped cheese, but it's cheesesteak.
Chopped cheese. Yeah, nothing
chopped
but
cheese.
Chopped cheese.
But it's good and I like it. So that'll be here, and I'll eat that and get a little bit fatter before I pass out and go to bed. That's the entire plan. And get up and do it all over again.
So I would like to point out one little happy story moment for this one.
Yeah.
Has anybody noticed nobody's talking about the rainbow flags anymore? They're too busy waving Mexican flags.
It's so weird, isn't it?
Lo siento.
It is so weird.
Arguments against pointing out the Mexican flags.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that earlier, that they're handing out the American flags now at these events.
They were posting about Israel flags being flown on U.S. soil.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see anybody complaining about that because it's in a different context.
Right.
Morons.
Very different.
Well, sort of like your little idea that I ran with and stole, that they're trying to accuse Trump planned all this.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
And he planned it. That means Biden was involved in it. Biden and Harris, and they intentionally lost the elections.
That was in response to Newsom saying, don't give in, don't be goaded. That's part of Trump's plan. That was always his plan, yada, yada. This was always his plan. His plan was to, in fact, deport some of the 10 to 20 to 30 million, in some estimates, illegals. Yes, I will give you that. That being said, he only had that plan after Biden allowed them all in.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't exactly.
And the Democrats harboring them.
Thank you, Wardy. Have a great night. And then, yeah, I don't think Trump conspired with Biden to allow all these people in so he could win an election and then get rid of them.
Well, that if their theory is going that way, they would have to admit that Biden and Kamala Harris threw the election so Trump could win, so he could implement this plan.
God, that is Machiavellian shit.
And you know, it's great. They will run with something like that as a plausible theory. But when you talk about how these riots that we have proven through facts and receipts are organized, planned, and paid for by leftist organizations who are run mostly by communists and socialists to undermine and destroy America, we're called lunatics.
Look at the hair on that arm. That's as much hair as I have in my ears.
Oh, I don't even have to wear a sweater in the winter.
And
he shaved.
Yeah, no, I actually just shaved these down a day and a half ago. But I sneeze and that happens. So, but yeah, no, it's crazy. Actually,
what?
You know what? I do want to share this really quick before we close out, because this dovetails into what Joe shared earlier. The video of the guy throwing the rocks at the ICE vehicles. This is from U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley. Wanted. Eppolito Reyna can run, but he can't hide. He threw rocks at federal officers leaving a command post in Paramount on Saturday. A brazen attack caught on film that could have resulted in death. Reyna, 40, is charged with assault on a federal officer and faces up to 8 years in prison if convicted. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for his capture.
I may have to dust off a certain badge of mine.
I was going to say, who wants to go for a ride? I could use 50K. If I could get 50K and 500 followers all in the same week, I'd be winning.
Yeah, but you know what? The same thing with it was asked on X. Would you turn in illegal immigrants for $20,000? Hell,
yeah.
I'd turn them in for a Kit Kat bar.
Yeah, seriously.
What would you do for a Kit Kat bar?
Did you say kitty cat bar? Well, that's weird, but Joe,
I mean,
downtown Trenton.
Don't ask me what I would do for a Klondike bar.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm with you though. I do it for a nickel. It's like when somebody said, wait a minute, you'd shoot somebody if they ever killed your dog or broke into your house over stuff or a dog? And I'd be like, dude, you have no idea what I would do for people for much less. Like, I don't care. That I don't know people. I don't care about the person who decided to kick in my door. Like, that's on them.
You are so worth much less than my dog. Oh my God.
Well, here's the thing. Those people put their lives at that low of a value that they choose to do those.
Yep.
My hemorrhoids have more seniority than those people.
Why would you? And they're also a pet in your house. So let's start around the horn. Let's go. Let's start with the bottom. Jersey Joe, sir, where can everyone find you?
Right here.
Perfect.
On all SHR Media, social media, Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's the right coast. What is that? 6 p.m. on the left coast. The damn commies. And you can catch me on Twitter at Jersey Joe Talks.
And then he wonders why I don't invite him on. Jersey Joe, sir, thank you so much. Appreciate having you, buddy. I got to go with Ricky Robinson, sir. I know where people can find you. You tell everybody else where they can find you.
Easiest way to find me is just to go to klrradio.com/schedule. I do the daily show over there, which is starting up again tomorrow. That's from 10 to 1 every day except for Mondays. Tomorrow night, I will I'm not sure because we're not doing the usual thing we do. But usually on Tuesday nights, I'm part of the Manorama panel, which is hosted by Rancor Steve, but he's off this week. Wednesday nights, Full Boat. Thursday nights, we do the Jen and Rick show. Friday nights, usually He Said, She Said, but Aggie's off right now, so I'm not sure what we're doing on Fridays. And you can find me at RowdyRick73. You can find our network at KLRN Radio, and you can find me as a contributor on Twitchy.com, MisfitsPolitics.com, and TheLoftusParty.com. And I also produce the Loftus Party podcast, which usually drops on Tuesdays.
Man, you were so lazy.
God, what an underachiever.
Ricky, sir, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, as always, for simulcasting me. I cannot say thank you enough.
Before you kick me off, just so you know, 745.
745 viewers over at KLRN for tonight's show. Outstanding, Rick. Thank you, sir.
PGC, Polite Golf Clap.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. And last but not least, the Bloviating Zeppelin. Sir, thank you for being with me tonight. Thank you for celebrating 500. Where can people find you?
It was an honor to be here. Don't expect me to have any kind of a memory to be able to rattle off all the stuff that Rick does. I'll be tasked to just try to tell everybody. I'll be on tomorrow night. What is tomorrow? Oh, Tuesday. At 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. And you guys have beaten this topic to death, so I think I'll probably have a 90-minute special on, I don't know, hemorrhoids. No, it's going to be... Oh, Jesus, you guys. Why are you to
Hey, you know...
Alice?
You know me, I can't let a good story go to pass.
Hey, but if I had to be someplace where we reached 500 subscribers, I would rather it be here.
It's
right
apropos.
now.
Apropos. BZ, sir, thank you very much for joining us.
Aloha.
And you can find me every Monday and Wednesday right here at shrmedia.com and simulcast with the wonderful folks over at KLRN. I want to thank the chatters tonight. I want to thank my guests tonight. I want to thank the subscribers who actually got us over the mark, got us over that 500. It is huge. It is so meaningful to us. It's going to bring us great things in the future. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, go to youtube.com, SHR Media. Please subscribe. You can join the chat room every Monday and Wednesday when I'm live, when BZ's live, when Jersey Joe's live, Mission Ready Men's live. Chat room's always open on all of those sites. So please check us out. Stay safe, stay warm, have a cocktail, enjoy your week, and I will talk to you Wednesday evening. Take care. Bye-bye.